You should not have broke friends. There are some tried and true ways to have money. Go get a job, start a successful business, make successful investments. Of course, we all know this. However, in your adult life, there are threats that don't involve fists, that don't involve knives, that don't involve guns. There are financial threats that can impact you and your loved ones in a way just as devastating as getting punched in the jaw. Can you find a certain level of happy in every environment? Absolutely you can. Welcome to episode 21 of the Income Autopilot Podcast. I'm your host, JT. Let's get straight into it. You should not have broke friends. If you are mature enough, old enough to have landed on this podcast for whatever reason, I need to tell you all that you, even if you are the broke friend right now, you should not have broke friends. Now understand this. Some people get triggered by this, and I know this because I made a post about it and people got triggered by it. Let's be real. Money is a byproduct. So I'm not saying money as if money is the thing. Let me clarify that for anybody that does not know, because me just going down this rant or rabbit hole will confuse a lot of people. So I got to make sure you understand it. Otherwise, you're not going to get any value out of the explanation of it. When I say money is a byproduct, think about if you drunk 2 gallons of fresh water today. If you drink 2 gallons of fresh water today, and there's nothing wrong with you, eventually you'll have to use the restroom. That is true 100% of the time, unless something's wrong with you. So we're talking about only 4 people that there's nothing wrong with. You will inevitably at some point or another need rest. If you're a human being, at some point or another, your body needs rest. Now, some of you all might need more rest than others. You know, I'm in my 30s now. So I feel you. But the inevitability of it is if you try to stay up for an entire month, no rest, no sleep, no slowing down, no rest. I don't even know if you could be alive, right? If you don't sleep for 30 days. If you are alive, you're not happy in how you feel. That's guaranteed. Let's tie this back to money, right? An inevitable truth that money being a byproduct is an inevitable truth that if you are a human being, eventually you'll get tired. If there's nothing wrong with you and you drink 2 gallons of water, you'll eventually have to use the restroom. What does that mean? That means that there are some tried and true ways to have money. Go get a job, start a successful business, make successful investments. Of course, we all know this. Now, success doesn't mean 100% of the time it has to work out perfectly, because that's not how reality works. So you may not get to drink 2 gallons of water every single day, or whatever the recommended dosage is. By the time you're listening to this, they always moving the goal line. Also, you may not always get the recommended 8 hours of sleep, or whatever the number is, if they continue to move the goal line on that as well. Inevitably, your body needs water, your body needs rest. If I was to show you the proven ways to get a job, to start a business successfully, to invest your money, money would be a byproduct of that. So I got to start there, or else somebody will just think money is the finish line. Listen, if you add value to people the right way, you make money. Most people just don't understand value because they're selfish. And when I say they're selfish, some people are knowingly selfish, but believe it or not, a lot of people are unknowingly selfish. What's an example of being unknowingly selfish? In this moment, you're thinking about how you going to pay your bills, how you going to do whatever it is you want to do, how you going to buy the thing that you want to buy. That may be a conscious thing that you're doing, maybe a subconscious thing that you're doing. But the reason why that's selfish, nevertheless, is 100% of the money that you don't currently have in your possession, that you would like to have in your possession now, in the near future, or even down the line, is already been printed, and it is already resting inside of the collective bank accounts of individuals and businesses that may not know you exist. And if some of them even know you exist right now, they may not know the value that you have, that they value more than the money that they have. Simple as that. So making money is a byproduct of a proper execution done on proper knowledge stemming from the correct mindset. That is what I'm saying. On the surface, because most people, they don't think this deep, right? Which is why they're not where they want to be in life, financially speaking. That's all we're talking about. Financially speaking. We're not going on any other rabbit holes, right? We're talking about your finances. If you are broke, that tells me something about your mindset. Doesn't tell me everything about your character as a human being. Doesn't tell me everything about your life story. Doesn't tell me what you went through. It could have recently happened. It could have been an emergency. It could have been blah, 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 right? Doesn't tell me all of the details specific to your situation. But what that does tell me is that you're somebody that thinks it's okay to, at any point in time, not have the financial resources to be able to take care of yourself and your family. That is how I'm defining broke. If you are at any point in time lacking the financial resources to take care of yourself and your family, and I'm not talking about your 18th cousin down the line. I'm talking about if you got kids. I'm talking about if you have a wife or a husband. I'm talking about if your mom is now up in age, or dad or grandma, whoever raised you, is now up in age and they have disabilities and have needs. I'm talking about that close network of people. I'm not even going to extend it out to brothers and sisters if they are adult age, with the exception of if they have disabilities, right? But if they have an able body and you have an able body, I'm not even going to extend it out like I expect you to be responsible for your brother and sister. Now, it's cool if you are. You can be financially responsible for whoever you deem fit to deserve that of you. But when I'm defining brokes, to make sure that we're on the same page, I'm talking about you're not able to take care of your kids. You're not able to take care of your spouse if they fall on a medical emergency or life happens, right? I'm not going to try to name every possible scenario. When life calls you to honor the vows you made with that man, with that woman, you ain't able to do it. That's what I'm talking about. You can't take care of yourself or your immediate family. That's not okay. And it's not okay, not because JT says it's not okay. It's not okay because life does not care. Life does not care. I'll give you guys a real life example. A little over a week ago, I was in a car accident. I wasn't at fault. I was at a intersection, right? So just mental picture here. Imagine being at a red light and traffic is so congested that even when the light turns green, traffic can't move. That's how crowded it was. It was around the Christmas time frame, because there's no telling when you'll actually hear this episode when I get it back from my editors. But this happened around the Christmas time frame. There's a lot of people in the city. There's a lot of traffic going on. So it's more congested than usual. So just because the light goes from red to green doesn't mean that the lanes are clear enough for you to go. So a lady admittedly said that she was on her way to take her children to the movies. She had looked up, saw it was a green light, and then looked back down to proceed texting on her phone. And because she looked at the light and didn't look at traffic, she ended up rear-ending me because I was at the intersection and traffic was so congested I couldn't move forward. I got hit and pushed up, and fortunately, no one got hurt. So her children were okay. She was okay. I was okay. My passenger was okay. Now, my car got damaged. On my dashboard, it says malfunction, airbag malfunction. So I don't know if that means the airbag should have deployed. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not going to try to, interpret that. Hit me hard enough to knock on the airbag system malfunction. Like, I travel with a bike rack and a bike. You guys know I'm trying to get into cycling more. And she hit me so hard that my bike rack broke and my bike was laying across the hood of her Mercedes-Benz SUV, right? Bent up the back of my car, pretty nice. Now, of course, we were able to pull over on the side of the road, do what we need to do, right? Get the insurance claim in, all of that other good stuff that you do after a car accident. But I still had obligations to do that next day. So the insurance she was with was the general insurance, and nothing bad to say about them yet, other than they're a little bit too slow. We'll see how they handle the situation. But I'm reaching out. I'm calling, I'm emailing, I'm letting them know, hey, listen, I'm not at fault here. Matter of fact, your client admitted fault in front of me on a pre-recorded call with you all. It's documented in the claim. She admitted that she ran into the back of somebody. Now, she didn't say she was texting and driving. I don't really care if she said that or not. But It is already documented on the claim. I know that because when we filed the claim, the person on the phone sent me an email before they disconnected the call. So I know I got my claim number. I got some details about the claim, right? I'm reaching back out because I'm telling them this happened at night, by the way. Didn't happen during car rental business hours. So it happened late in the evening, early night time frame. I don't remember the exact time. But reason why I'm telling you this story, car rental places are closed. I get into an accident. I was told, hey, you got to follow up when car rental places are open. We're going to get you in a rental, blah, 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 whole process. You guys know what I mean. Well, I get ghosted for about a week. They don't return my emails. They don't return my calls. I'm not getting through to anybody on the calls. They have like an AI automated system. I'm trying to get over to a representative. It's disconnecting the call. So getting the runaround. So what I had to do is get a last minute rental. Now, of course, with a last minute rental, that sometimes means you can't get your ideal car. You got to get what's available so that way you can go ahead and do what you need to do, right? Now, I did have some luck because what was available was also a vehicle that I'm thinking about purchasing in the future, which was an EV, an electric vehicle. So I rented a Tesla for a week. And that's how long it took before the insurance was able to finally contact me back, get me in a rental on their dime, and now they're talking about getting a estimate for my personal property damage, right? I had a Trek bike, Trek. Anybody that knows cycling knows that Treks can range, but mine was a few $1,000s, right? My bike rack was like maybe $300-400, but the bike itself was a few $1,000. So I got to get compensated for that. But my rental in that time frame was $1,200. That's what it costs to get a last minute rental. Now, could I have gotten something else? Yes. What was available immediately would have been more than that. So the most cost-effective rental I could get at the time, $1,200. What if, and the point that I'm making here, bringing it full circle, what if I didn't have $1,200? Was it my fault that during Christmas time, there's an influx of traffic? No, I didn't invent Christmas. Was it my fault that a lady that I've never seen before in life decided to text and drive with her kids in the car and run in the back of me when I am stopped at an intersection because traffic is so congested it's not moving? No, that's not my fault. But all of the consequences of me not being able to go do what I needed to do in that week would have fell on me. Now, could some people say, well, I understand you were not at fault. You were in a car accident and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that people will say, hey, well, because you couldn't do this for us, right, as a partner or as a client or in whatever capacity I needed to do work throughout that week, here's some free money. No, I still had obligations to do as a CEO, as a business owner, as an investor. I still had to go look at a daycare center that we are acquiring. And I needed to see it then, right? We've already have the ball rolling on some things. And I just had to be there. You guys know, have you ever had a situation where you like had to be there? There was no do-overs, like a wedding, right? It's not like, hey, I'm not going to make your wedding today. I'll be there tomorrow. Just wait till tomorrow and get married. No. Or a funeral, right? If they already have everything set up to do the funeral, you can't say, hey, look, wait another day. I'll be there tomorrow. Once you have certain things already planned out and scheduled in business, and a lot of you all can understand this, but for the benefit of the people that haven't done this sort of business before, it's similar to that where ain't no do-overs. You do it now or you don't do it. Straight up. So life don't care. Life would not care if I was broke. I would have had to suffer the consequences of being broke, even though it wasn't my fault we got in a car accident. Legitly. So when I say don't have broke friends, it is not the fact that their bank account or their pockets are empty. It is the mindset of person that you are around. That person believes that there is ever a point in their adult life where it is okay to not to be able to protect themselves and their immediate family. Now, back when I was a kid, I know it's different for the youth now. When we thought about being attacked or being in danger, we're talking about a fist fight. Good old school fist fight. The older cats at the time would be like, hey, I ain't gonna fight you, young buck, I'ma cut you. All right. But now, the younger generation, as of this recording, and hopefully that changes, you more worried about getting shot than getting fought with hands or cut with a knife or whatever, right? So all of that to say is that times have changed. So there was a time that, okay, the worst thing that could happen to me was something that I could protect myself against if I know how to fight, or if I know how to, just avoid getting stabbed, avoid getting shot, right? And those are all great skills to have. Knowing how to avoid getting hit, stabbed, and shot, recommended 100% for every man and woman out there. However, in your adult life, there are threats that don't involve fists, that don't involve knives, that don't involve guns. There are physical, there are financial threats that can impact you and your loved ones in a way just as devastating as getting punched in the jaw, getting stabbed in the stomach, getting shot your pinky toe off, like Della Reese did, right? I don't know if you guys catch the reference or not, but I digress. Let me give you guys some facts. So, jerrygenie.com, your online AI mentor. So I asked it, what are the stats about the company you keep and the friends that you have? The saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with emphasizes the idea that your friends and inner circle greatly influence your success and personal growth. Here are some stats and insights to help you reflect on your network and company. So here's just some cold hard facts. Take JT's emotion out of it. I also didn't read these beforehand, so we're going to find out about them together. All right, let me scroll up to where they are. 1 second. Okay, income and influence. Study by Harvard found that if your close friends earn more, you're more likely to see an increase in your own income. Positive financial habits are contagious. All right, so the company that you keep has an income influence. That is why you shouldn't have broke friends. And if you are the broke friend, you should start working on yourself, and you should start finding other networks of people that are not broke. Second to that, behavioral impact. Research shows that 70% of your habits are shaped by those closest to you. If your friends are highly productive, disciplined, or goal-oriented, you are more likely to emulate those behaviors. Happiness correlation. The Framingham Heart Study. That's a mouthful. You guys know I got a South Carolina education, which should give you some solace in knowing that you ain't got to be the best orator in order to make money. The Framingham Heart Study revealed that having happy friends increases your own happiness by 15%, while unhappy friends can bring down your happiness level by nearly the same percentage. Tell me, what is there to be happy about when you broke, when you poor? Every time, I don't know about who your current circle is, so I'm going to just speak about who my past circle was before I made this switch. Every time you in a broke circle, you got an idea how you gonna do that. That's expensive. That costs a lot of money. I can't even dream because in this circle, the poverty mindset is so prevalent that when I say, hey, man, one day I'm going to have a nice apartment. One day I'm going to have a nice house. One day I'm going to have a nice car. One day I'm going to have a job that pays me 6 figures. One day I'm going to travel to Hawaii. One day I'm going to travel to Jamaica. One day I'm going to save up $1,000, $3,000, $10,000, $100,000. When you in a poverty environment, when you surrounded around broke people, how you gonna do that? Ain't nobody gonna do that. You must be gonna sell dope. You must be gonna do something illegal. Ain't no way you can make money doing that. That sounds like a scam. And they're feeding all of this negativity into you because they don't know how they would do it. And because they don't know how they would do it, they are projecting, if you will, as I seek for the word, they're projecting their negativity on you, their beliefs on you, right? You may believe you will never have 1 million followers. I believe I will. You may believe that you'll never have $1 million. I believe I will. You may believe that you'll never have $100 million. I believe I will. You may believe that you'll never have $100 million business that cash flows and blesses at least 2 million people a month, right? This is the mindset of people in low-income environments. You know what makes poor people happy? Escapism for the reality of how poor they are. So they in the drama, they in the club, they in social media beef, they in the comedy and entertainment. And while there is a place for escapism in all classes of people, regardless of your income, you will find an overconsumption of escapism. You'll find an overconsumption of entertainment amongst low income and poor people. Low income and poor people, they watch the most sports. They listen to the most rap music. They know all the dances. They know who beefing with who. They know who breaking up with who and why, right? They know when the new Jordans are coming out. And I'm telling you this not as an attack. I used to be that person. And I still know people that's like that. So I want you to understand that ain't no real happiness. You can find a false sense of happiness, right? We can talk to people that are in prison for the rest of their life for doing a heinous crime. Not saying everybody in prison has done a heinous crime, but specifically, if we were to talk to somebody in prison that has done a heinous crime, whatever you think would be the worst thing ever, right? Whether it's they kill children, they rape the elderly woman, they whatever you think is the worst crime that somebody can commit. And let's say they're in prison now, they're serving a life sentence. They're going to spend the rest of their natural life in there. Do you know that there are people in that situation that have found a way to be happy? They've accepted the fact that this is where they're going to die. They have made accommodations for themselves in that environment so that way they can still find peace, joy, and their version of happiness while they live out the remainder of their life. So can you find a certain level of happy in every environment? Absolutely you can. Right? I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I know during times of war that there are servicemen and women that can be on the front line, right? Facing imminent threats, risking their lives. Some are injured. Some will even lose their life in the future because that's just the nature of war. And they can still find a certain level of joy, a certain level of happiness in what they do. That's just facts. So I'm not saying that poor people have no level of happiness. I'm telling you that poor people have a subpar level of happiness. And if God gave you one life, why settle? Why settle? And again, don't take this personally because I don't know your situation personally. And I'm Cousin JT. It's all love. But part of being a family, all right, real family will tell you how a TI is, right? Real family tell you how a TI is, right? Y'all can tell me I need to get in better shape. Hey, I'm working on it. I could tell you, hey, you broke. You need to get some more money. And hey, you working on it, right? Hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. And it's not a, I'm picking at you. It's not a, I'm saying it to hurt you or to make you feel bad. It is me sincerely caring about you. It is a way to do it. That's why before I got into this, I told you guys, here's my definition of these terms. That's why I'm intentionally saying I don't know your situation personally. So how can I speak on something I don't know personally? So if you watch this or listen to this and take it personal, it's not me that you're upset with. It's the reality of your situation that you find what I'm saying to speak to your reality. Because I don't know. Right? Everybody that's listening to this can have $100 million in the bank. How would I know? Everybody listening to this could have $0 in the bank account and be facing getting kicked out of their house, getting their car repossessed. How would I know? Right? I'm at my podcast section of my media house, right? Just looking into a camera, talking into a microphone, just me and the mic, right? I ain't there with you. I don't know your life. So don't take it personal. It's all love. But we got to have these conversations. Let me tell you why we have to. Because by the grace of God, I wish you abundance and longevity in your life. And that means one day you will get older. And I don't want you to find out what you should have done better when you no longer have the energy, the drive, the ambition, possibly the physical capability to do so, right? So I want you to hear it now. As soon as I can share it with you, I need somebody to hear it now because somebody is young enough to execute on this and live abundantly. But I'm also talking to the person that is fourth quarter and you got to lock in now. You ain't got another 30, 40, 50 years to work. And I'm not saying you're going to die because I don't know. I'm saying that you might be called to another chapter in your life. Your working days might be over. Now you in retirement. And I want you to have something to show for the 20, 30, 40 plus years you gave to an employer, you gave to your own businesses, you gave to your investments, or however you made your money. So let's be real. Health choices. Study published in New England Journal of Medicine found that if your close friends become obese, you have a 57% increased chance of becoming obese yourself, showing how your circle influences physical health. Number 5, entrepreneurial influence. Entrepreneurs are 3 times more likely to start a business if they have close friends or family members who are also entrepreneurs. Les Brown said, if you ever fall in life, fall on your back. Because if you can see up, you can get up, right? So having a circle of entrepreneurially minded people. I'm not saying that the only options are broke and millionaire, right? I'm not saying the only options are broke or millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, right? I'm saying broke to me is not having at all times the financial means to take care of yourself independently, your children independently, your spouse, if you have one, independently, and whoever raised you at a bare minimum. Right? Now, if you extend it out to your siblings, amen. If you extend it out to your church family, amen. I help people that are not my spouse, my children, my mother, right? So there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying at a bare minimum, this is how we define broke. And if you're the broke friend, again, what did I say? Start separating yourself from being around other broke people. You have to now expose yourself to other environments. Now, here's the conundrum you might face. Well, JT, if I'm the broke friend and you told me to go get around some people that ain't broke friends, why would they want to be around me and I'm the broke friend? Because now I'll be the only broke friend in the new circle, right? Your only limitation is your imagination. Whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he. Understand these principles, right? You cannot have as much money as somebody and still bring value to the situation. Billion-dollar companies reach out to me and say, hey, we have a product, service that we want to promote, right? We have a product and or service that we want to promote. Is it because I have as much money as them? Absolutely not. But I have something of value. I have a podcast that reaches people. I have 12 Instagram accounts. I have 5 YouTube channels. I have 2 newsletters. I lost track of how many websites I got. I got a full-time team, right? So I have an infrastructure. I'm not just somebody yelling into a mic. I'm a real business owner that's sitting and having this conversation in one of my real investment properties, one of 6 investment properties. The only reason I'm in an investment property is because all of the studios where I want to buy a studio want me to sign a long-term lease, and boss to boss, I want to own the building. And they don't want to sell it right now. But trust and believe, for those of you all that are watching this virtually and those of you all that are listening to it, your boy eventually, you're gonna notice change of scenery. Either they're going to eventually sell it to me or I'll find another location, right? But I digress. I'm here coming from a place called Mullins, South Carolina. Population is roughly 3,000 people there, right? If you make $100,000 a year there, you a millionaire. That's how they gonna treat you, right? I spend over $100,000 a year. If you just made it where I'm from, you a millionaire. So if you just made what I spend, right? And you ain't even got to make as much as I spend a year. If you make just at least 100,000, millionaire there. I don't come from money. My dad died when I was 11. My mom raised 5 kids, had 6. One of her children before I was even born was a stillborn, but we still claim them, right? Mom raised 5 kids. My dad died when I was 11. My mom told me she never made more than $11 an hour. She told me this when I was an adult. Years later, I didn't know at the time. My mom also took in my grandmother when she started having dementia and then Alzheimer's later on in life, right? And if I mispronounce the word, I mispronounce the word. But Alzheimer's or however it's pronounced. Because I gotta say that because somebody's gonna be a stickler for pronunciation, but I digress. The point that I'm making here is you don't have to be great in math to be able to pull out a calculator and divide. If you have 5 mouths to feed, those are your children. Your own mouth to feed, because you're not going to starve to death. Your mother's mouth to feed, and your mother is reverting back to a child. What's up, family? Brief interruption, but I promise to get you right back into today's action. It recently came to my awareness that I am no longer allowed to teach you everything I know about making money, and that's legally. I have to do that. I always tell you guys, there's so many legit ways to make money. We're not going to do anything illegal, illegitimate, or immoral. So the reason why it's an issue in a nutshell is this. You could be a minor watching this, or you could be an elderly person that has a mental deficiency, and if you learn something here but you misapply it, then that could cause a financial hardship for you, your loved ones, blah, 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 right? I don't make the rules, but I am going to stay compliant and follow them. So here's the solution. Join my absolute free newsletter. We do private meetups every single Thursday. Now, there is going to be a consensus statement that pretty much says, hey, if you come to this private meetup every single Thursday, it's absolutely free to come. You agree that you're not a minor and you're not an elderly that has a mental deficiency. From now on, I will be giving you guys my best advice every single Thursday. And instead of me talking at you, it's going to be an environment where we can talk to each other, right? If that sounds valuable to you, click the link, join the Providence Pro newsletter. I'll see you guys on the inside. Back to today's action. Those are 7 mouths you got to feed consistently. Plus you got a van payment, you got a car payment, and you got a house payment. And you're doing it by yourself. Your spouse has passed away. If we divide all of that responsibility by $11 an hour, you could quickly realize that my mom was broke her entire working life. She was broke. Didn't mean she had $0. That just means that she, at many times, didn't have the financial resources to protect everything that she had. Now, by the grace of God, we all made it out. Right? My brother, my older brother, myself, and my younger brother, all the men in my family just as a rite of passage went to the military. But my older brother wasn't able to stay in the house his entire high school career and then graduate from there. Neither was I, because it just at a certain point, it was just not feasible with the resources and with the environment for us to remain there the entirety of our childhood, right? It just is what it is. I don't come from money is what I'm saying. Some of you all don't come from money. So I left little country broke town to join the military, United States Marine Corps in 2008, right? Didn't stay long, to be honest with you. Got out in 2012, honorably discharged. If I were to re-enlist, my commander, who is now a multimillionaire in the government contracting space, William C. Gray, if you want to look him up on LinkedIn, just fact check me, see if I'm lying. If I would have re-enlisted, he had told me that he was, as my commanding officer at the time, he's now retired, would have signed off on me becoming an officer. So I would have went to OCS, Officer Candidate School is what they call it, in Quantico, Virginia. And for anybody that doesn't know what that means, it just would have meant that I would have went and got a pay increase, a responsibility increase. Think about it like high-level managerial position if you're completely unfamiliar with the military. Something like that, right? Like leaving the store location and going to corporate is I think the funniest, but maybe the closest analogy to kind of help you visually understand it. But I got out. I went to Charleston Southern University, and you guessed it, Charleston, South Carolina. And then from there, I went to University of Maryland in College Park, Maryland for grad school, and just constantly doing research online because I knew I was called to do more. And this is the good thing, seeking ye shall find. I never stopped looking for ways to start my own business. A lot of you all, you're not actively looking. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm reading Google articles. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm going to Barnes and Nobles. I know that's old school now, right? And Books A Million, and I'm buying books and reading those books. This was before Audible, y'all, right? Or at least before I knew about Audible. All right. So I had to actually go to a bookstore, buy a book, sit down and read a physical book, right? Shout out to Audible though, I love it. But that's how I had to learn. And if I can do it, broke kid from broke town, go to the Marines thinking that that's going to make them financially free. And for some it did. For my commanding officer, I believe it contributed. And the Marine Corps did give me a lot of intangibles and some tangible things that I've taken with me throughout life to make me a better person, right? I was a bad kid. Like I said, didn't make it through high school at my mom's house. I had to go somewhere, right? Luckily, she took me back, a little while later. It was what it was. She wasn't even in the wrong. I later understood that poverty will make you angry. Poverty will make you not care, right? Like, hey, it ain't no risk, right? It ain't no risk. This is what it is, type stuff. All right, I digress. I just wanted you all to paint the picture to know this is not some spoiled rich kid coming up here saying, hey, all y'all broke people, y'all should get some money, blah, 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 blah. Nah, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's not what I'm saying at all. Going back into it, though, let me pull back up my handy dandy list. Questions to reflect on your company and friends. Do they challenge you? Do they align with your values? Are they supportive? And level up your network. At least be surrounded by people that at any point in time, under any circumstances, because guess what? Hard times fall on rich people and poor people. I don't believe in the middle class. I think it's a fallacy. But if you believe in the middle class, then if hard times fall on the middle class too. So that being said, when I speak on stay away from broke people, right? You shouldn't have broke friends. If you're an adult, what benefit is it for you to be around people that are broke? How does it help you to be surrounded by another man, another woman, or several men and women in your circle that cannot at all times take care of themselves, their children, their spouse, and whoever raised them, right? Because I'm at the age now where my mama's senior citizen. Now, if you younger watching this and you got a young mom, young dad, young whoever raised you, cool. But I'm at the age now, my mom, she up in age. My mom beat cancer once. Hopefully it never comes back, but she has health conditions, right? She has health conditions. That being said, being a senior citizen, not making much money during your working career, being in remission for cancer, which she's been in it for a while, but it's still certain things that she has to do to try to keep it at bay so she can live a functional life for as long as possible. Hope she's around another 1,000 years, right? That being said, she don't got a lot of financial resources. Should I say, oh, well, you should have been an entrepreneur. You should have been an investor. I got mine. You should have got yours. Hey, you on your own, mom, right? You got to figure that out, right? Selfish poverty thinking. Selfish poverty thinking. One, I'm unapologetically a believer. I'm passionate about what I'm saying, but I'm unapologetically a believer. So if nothing else, God tells us if we honor our mother and father, our days on earth will be longer. So if nothing else, even if you are selfish, take care of your mom and dad just so you can be around longer to make money. Just so you can be around longer for your kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. So if you are selfish, at least be selfish in a way that it benefits you for real. Selfishly do all you can for whoever raised you, right? Your parental figures, if you don't have biological parents for whatever reason, right? Not going down that rabbit hole, to each their own. Do it for that. But my parents, I don't know about yours, I'm speaking about mine. My parents, one died when I was 11 years old. Who's to say how life would have been different if he would have been around to this day? Second to that, my mom never made more than $11 an hour. Her being 65 plus years old now, because now she's over 65. But her being a senior citizen, 65 plus years old, at least until they move the needle again. You guys know they always changing that. But I digress again. You guys know my mind is moving because I'm passionate. I really want you all to get this. My mom remembers when they had colored only water fountains. So they had white water fountains. They had colored water fountains. She remembers when they would spit on the water fountain. So that way people of color wouldn't want to touch the thing to make water come out of the water fountain. They will spit on where you would have to press if it's one of the ones that are operated by hand. Now, I don't know if you guys remember old school water fountains. Some of them had like the foot thing. So they would also get smart and they would spit on the little piece where the water comes out of as well. So if it didn't have a place to put your hands and cut on the water, hey, just spit where the water comes out of. And this is not one person. This is a group of people. Imagine a group of strangers that you don't know that hate you just because of what you look like begin to and spit on the only source of clean drinking water you have. That's what my mom had to go through. My mom remembers a time, and she shared with me, they would just sick German Shepherds on them. There was a time that she remembers where if you were a person of color, that if you are walking on the sidewalk and you step in the road, you could just be laughing and joking with the buddies and you misstep one step in the road, then you step right back in. Not saying that you got to cause a car accident. It could be zero traffic. No harm was done by that. But if you just, boom, step off the sidewalk and then put your foot back on the sidewalk, the police would arrest and detain you for 2 days. Public drunkenness, public intoxication is what they would charge you with. No field sobriety tests. You ain't got to blow in no tube. You ain't got to touch your nose and walk backwards and say ABCs. All they had to say is, we saw you walking in a certain manner. It looked like you was drunk, looked like you was stumbling. However, they didn't do it to other people. And I'm just speaking about the stories my mom and aunts and uncles share with me. I'm not saying this is the universal story for all black people. I'm just telling you guys about my mom. The point that I'm making here is that my mom, childhood, and most of her life was the fight just to be at zero, just to be at a level playing field so you can build something. Her childhood consisted of, I hope a white person doesn't see me walking home from school or walking to school, and because they just don't like how my hair looks. They don't like the color of my skin. They don't like that we walk through this neighborhood to get to school because it's the shortest way to get to school and it's raining. They want us to go all the way around, right, and add an extra 3-4 miles. You know them old people that was like, I used to walk 49 miles, right, to school or something crazy like that, right? Well, what I've learned is that, yes, some people's proximity might have been so far away that they did have to walk, not 40 something miles, but they had to walk distances. But sometimes you didn't walk that far just because the school was that far. You couldn't go straight line point A to point B. You had to go from point A all around the city and come behind point B to get in through the back door. Because if you went straight line, the neighborhoods that were in between where you were and where you're trying to go were not friendly neighborhoods. Somebody might look out their window. Who that? That's JT and some other guys. It don't even got to know who it is. Who is that? That's these people. That's this word of people. Open up the door. Let the German Shepherds go. There was no cell phones to record it. If you called the police was on the side of the person that turned the dog loose. So they not advocating for you. And then it makes sense why so many of us that come from low-income environments don't like dogs or are afraid of dogs. And some of you all may have heard similar stories, or maybe you just been conditioned that way because your grandparents and parents just like, I don't like dogs. I'm not a dog person, right? They'll bite you. Well, so will a human, all right? So will a fish. So will a mosquito. All of these things have the capacity to bite somebody. All of these creatures, there is a historical reference that we can find if we wanted to of all of these creatures biting something. Right? Another human. The point that I'm making here is that, at least in my situation, if doing it just because God said do it ain't enough, understanding that they couldn't do it. It wasn't that your parental figure, whoever that would be, because it's different for everybody, wasn't that your parental figure was a bum. It wasn't that they wanted to stay poor. It wasn't that they lived a life to deprive you of having what you needed in most cases, right? In most cases. Not speaking universally, but in most cases, that's not a reality for most people. And if that is the case in your unique situation, understand that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. Because as long as mentally you give energy to the fact that you were strung out on drugs and you didn't do right by me because of crack, because of alcohol, because of your sex addiction, because of whatever vice you had, right? As long as you hold on to that, that person is still going to live their life, right? But now you are stuck. Now you have arrested development. You still worried about how you was treated at 13, at 14, at 12, at 11, at 9, right? If you from the South, at least, I could tell you, a lot of us got some whippings we didn't deserve. It is what it is. It is what it is. You got some whippings you didn't deserve. My sister got hit with a brick. She got caught outside in the car with a boy while she was in high school. My mom came out the door and was so angry. She had a brick, like she would put bricks around flowers. I don't know why this was a decoration in the South, but they would get like bricks and spray paint them, and that would be, I guess, pretty. And they would put that around like different kind of flowers and cactuses, supposed to make the yard look better. I don't know, right? Maybe it does. I'm just a guy. But my mom went outside, picked up one of her decorative bricks. It was a regular red brick. They just painted it, right? Painted it white to put it around some flowers she got. Boom, throw the brick. Woo. So my mom creeping up to the car. Picture this. She in her 40s at this point. Right? So when my sister was in high school, I was in middle school or elementary school, depending on what grade of high school she was in, because she like 4 years older than me. She outside in the car with a boy, late night. My mom gets up, checks all the locks, checks all the windows, notices a car is outside. One of her daughters is not in their bedroom. So she sneak out the door. She sneak out the door, scoop a brick. I guess the guy or somebody notices a shadowy figure approaching. So they in the back seat, jump out, back seat, wrap around to the front seat. Now, not trying to be stereotypical, but the guy was faster than the girl in this situation, right? I know it's some great athletic women out there in the world, but my sister just wasn't one of them, not this night. So the guy hops out and runs round the car, right, to get in the driver's seat and drive off. So my mom throws the brick. Woo. Guy dodges it, runs around the car. My sister jumps out the car, hit in the head with the brick. Now, did my sister have any business being outside 1 o'clock in the morning in the back seat of the car with a boy in high school? Of course not. Some of you all have done that before, right? Ladies and fellas, some of you all have been the one that brought the car. Some of you all have been the one that the car came for you, right? It is what it is. So was it wrong? Of course. You a high school kid. Of course, you got a mom that's struggling to take care of all of these kids. She ain't trying to have no grandbabies. She ain't trying to have no potential grandbabies, right? She can't even afford what she got now, all right? And y'all ain't got no business out here doing this. Y'all kids, right? All of the good parenting stuff in some ways is lacking today, right? We had it back then. Even though my sister may have been wrong for being where she was at that time, was the right way to handle that to hit her with a brick? Of course not. And I got stories like that for myself. Got my lip busted by my mom a few times. Like, man, just a lot of crazy stories. And for years, because somebody needs to hear this, so we're going to spend time on it today. For years, you hold on to that because they were wrong. And it wasn't until I realized poverty will make you angry, and people that are angry and in impoverished state for a prolonged amount of time, they can't think clearly, right? Why else would you rob a liquor store? Why else would you shoot somebody? Why else would be, okay, my first reaction is violence. When your first reaction is violence in these low-income environments, that stems from, hey, I don't got much. So I don't got much, and what I do have, I treasure because it took me so much to get it, and depending on what it is, I might not get this again, or I might not be able to get it anytime soon. Not recommending this. If you sleep with my girl, I gotta kill you. If you break in my car or run into me, right, rear end me, T-bone me, whatever, I gotta shoot you. If we have a disagreement, it has to turn into a shouting match that ends with violence, right? All of this is because I have been exposed to an environment of severe poverty for a prolonged amount of time. And I haven't seen anybody where they get they shoes stepped on and they wipe it off. Hey, my bad, bro. I didn't mean to step on your shoes. No problem, bro. It's just shoes. You didn't mean to. I know you didn't mean to. Right? It's one thing if somebody meant to and they just playing with you, but I know you didn't mean to do it. Right? It was a crowded hallway. We all trying to make it to our next class before the bell rings and we get detention. You missing stepped on my shoes. My bad, bro. I ain't mean to. Don't worry about it. It's all good. But somebody else, man, listen, all I got is these shoes. All I got one pair of shoes. They got to last me till Christmas. And then maybe for Christmas, my mom, my dad, my grandma, somebody will give me another pair of shoes. So if these pair of shoes start looking raggedy because you stepped on them and you creased them up or you scuffed them, I got to wear these raggedy looking shoes the rest of the semester and get picked at by other kids, by the pretty girl that I want to talk to, right? By my friends that I sit with at lunch. It can't go down like that. It can't go down like that. This is the mindset when you're in an impoverished environment, right? Not bragging or boasting. I wear designer shoes pretty much every day. I work out in $1,000 Versace's. Not intentionally, I'm just saying these are the shoes that I wear. I work out, $1,000 Versace's. I ride my bicycle with $1,000 Balenciagas. Now, I do have some Hokas, right? And I love my Hokas. And I will start wearing my Hokas more, but it would be me in the moment. Let me just work out. If I got to go switch clothes and do all of this, I know me, I might talk myself out of doing it. So, hey, if I know I need to go ahead and do it, whatever state I'm in, that's what I'm doing it in. And because I wear these kind of shoes, those are the kind of shoes I'm in. So am I worried about creasing up $1,000 sneakers? No. Why? Because they sneakers. And I can get another pair. And even if they creased, I don't care, right? These are my daily wears. But if all I had of value was those shoes, man, please. Man, I'll walk around barefooted most days, right? Just so I ain't got to mess up my good shoes. So impoverished environments make you angry. So a lot of us, our parents were raised in impoverished environments. And their goal was just trying to be better parents than they had. May not be the parents we wanted them to be, but they were just trying to be better parents than they had. Not saying grandma and granddad or whoever raised them was bad, but they, just like you, saw things that they could have done better. They saw things that their parents or parental figure could have done better. And they're just trying to make those improvements gradually, as will you when you become a parent. And it might be something as small as, man, my grandma beat my mom with an extension cord. And now, even if my mom gives me whippings, she not going to use an extension cord. She going to use a switch, right? Maybe you are the generation that, hey, look, we might look at discipline a little bit differently. To each their own, how they discipline their kids. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do whatever, right? What I am saying is that you might say, well, I'm going to do it differently. Even if you do discipline your kids the same way your parents discipline you, you might give them more chances. Mama and daddy, any infraction of wrong, they on your head. You going to explain it to them. Hey, don't do that because of such and such. If you do it again, such and such going to happen. Our parents, I said so. Ain't no explanation. Bringing it back home, we don't know the entirety of whoever raised us situation. But we do know if they raised you, they could have gave you up for an adoption. They could have talked somebody into aborting you. They could have done whatever, right? No matter how bad you were raised, do you know there are children that are killed by their parents every single year? They could have just offed you, boom, as a baby, as an adolescent, at whatever age. So they at least gave you the opportunity to stay alive long enough to figure out your own opportunities, right? If nothing else, if all the bad taken into place, right? So take care of your parents, man. So again, you broke if you can't at all times. Not saying that you have to do it at all times, right? Not saying that because some of y'all have adult children and you don't want to enable them and now they can't independently take care of themselves if something happens to you. So I'm not saying just because you can, you take care of your adult children's every bill every month to the day that they die. Or you pay all of your spouse's bills. Maybe that's just not the dynamics of y'all relationship. I'm more traditional. That doesn't mean that every man is wrong if he doesn't want to take on that responsibility. Whatever works in y'all relationship, that's between you and whoever you with, right? Same thing with your parents, right? Maybe you don't pay your parents' bills every single month. I don't pay, full disclosure, I don't pay my mom's bills every single month, right? She knows I am going to take care of her. And there are certain things that I am going to do. And in a case of emergency, she knows that I'm going to fulfill all the emergencies, the needs, right? But she takes care of her cell phone bill and a lot of other stuff. She's independent, right? And that's how she wants to be. Now, if she ever got to a point where she wouldn't, whatever, you know what I mean, do it, then of course we'll address it at that time. So I'm saying have the means to do it, not necessarily that you have to be doing it at all times, right? Does that make sense? There is no benefit in having a broke friend. There's no benefit to you in being the broke friend because now when you go around people, right? I don't go to clubs anymore, but let's say that you are that type of person. If you always broke, every time I want to go out and have fun, if we were going to the club, I got to pay for you to get in. I got to buy your drinks, buy your chicken wings, pay for your pictures. You ain't got no gas money to help us get there. If you do end up finding somebody that you attracted to and y'all exchange information, you might expect me to give you a ride to meet up with that person at another time. Like, come on, man. You a burden. Broke people are burdens. They're burdens to themselves if they got sense, but they burdens to their friends, to their family members, to their parental figures. Because mom gonna always love you, right? Grandmama, mama, right? Daddy say, hey, man up, get out of here. Understand that with love, you should not have broke friends. And it is levels to it, but we're talking about at a bare minimum. Take care of yourself, your kids, your spouse, whoever raised you. If you want to talk about higher levels of it, we can. But I think that just set the bar. This is what broke is. You should not have broke friends. And your friends should be challenging you to get better. Because at just above broke, that's the acronym they give a job, right? Just above broke. They might have South Carolina educations too, because I don't know how to spell every word, but I know above don't start with a O. But you know, that's the acronym they give job. Just above broke. But anyway, that is like bare minimum stability. Bare minimum stability, right? That's surviving, not thriving. So if you want to talk about having abundance, building a legacy, building generational wealth, being able to lay the foundation for others to build upon, oh yeah, then the standard does get higher, right? It does get higher, right? So it's up to you to decide if that's what you want to do or not, all right? So people around me, either they got a business or I'm telling them to do a business, right? Man, I got a partner of mine and I told him, hey, call your son, tell your son you're going to get him this car when he graduate, right? The friend I told this to don't even have a business that's cash flowing to him at this time. Don't have a consistent 9-to-5 job. I wasn't saying it to troll him. I wasn't saying it to be mean to him, right? I'm saying this on some like, hey, listen, boom. I'm going to challenge you to up your game, right? And you know why? Because I got people around me that's telling me, hey, look, bro, my old financial goal was 20 million. They said, man, look, bro, why you shooting for goals you know you can reach? Bro, try to do everything God called you to do. $100 million or nothing, bro. $100 million. Okay, let me map this out. Let me look at this. Okay, how many people could I serve? How many people could I bless if we build $100 million portfolio company? Oh, that's nice. Like, we can bless a lot of people. Let them know to keep God first. They can reach all their financial goals. Hey, bet you right, bro. I didn't say, nah, I don't know how to make $100 million, which I don't at this point in time. I don't, right? But I didn't say, nah, I don't know how to do that. I ain't even asked him how to do it. God know he didn't know either, right? I didn't make any excuses as to why I couldn't do it. Not, I didn't know how. I don't have the money. I don't have the relationships. I don't have the infrastructure. I don't have the knowledge. I have no excuses, man. And that's just the level we on. So if somebody was to be my friend personally, yeah, we gonna push you to be top of the top. You gonna have to serve strangers. You gonna have to be a big dog, because we believe God called people to serve people. Not saying that everybody that watches my stuff, listens to my podcast, meets me in person has to ever be my friend, right? You're not going to be everybody's friend. I'm not going to be everybody's friend. So this is not saying that, oh, everybody should aspire to be my friend and this is the highest standard, and if you ain't this, you ain't nothing. I'm just saying, for me, my circle of friends, your circle of friends can say, hey, everybody here, we can take care of ourselves, our kids, our spouse if we have one, and whoever raised us at any point in time in all circumstances. And if you got that, you got a good circle. In my opinion, right? There's going to be some development there that is going to allow you all to thrive in time, I believe. Reason why I say there's going to be some development there, because in life, due to inflation, unforeseen emergencies, and just the economics of life, you're going to have to do better just to stay the same. Because even if you pay off that house, your property tax is going to increase. Even if you pay off that car, you're going to pay that tax, right, consistently. If you're in the United States, right, which is why we're looking to buy property in the Bahamas. But I still love the United States, going to have investments here, right? Even if you got that dividend portfolio with millions in it, still going to have to pay taxes on that money, all right? That car is still going to eventually break down. I don't care if you got the $20,000 boy, the $200,000 boy, or the $2 million boy. Eventually, it's going to need some maintenance, all right? So in life, just to stay the same, you got to do better. Think about that. Real talk. Imagine, what did it cost as young as, or as far back as you can remember, the youngest you can remember being? What did it cost for you to get some candy? If you can remember, what did gas used to cost when you was little? What did a car used to cost? What did a house used to cost? Right? And depending on where you were raised and just your cognitive memory, right? Like we all can see that when I was young, when I was a kid, $100,000 house, great house. Now, $100,000 house, projects, hood, trap house. Now, of course, depending on where you live, certain markets you might can find a middle class or whatever thing, but in most markets now, $100,000 is what a trap house costs. Trap house in the hood, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. You're going to be at $200,000 or better just to get in the middle class neighborhood. Depending on where you are, East Coast, West Coast, South, North, whatever, right, might be substantially more than that. Now, there are always outliers. So some people that average house is $1 million, average house is $50,000 on either end. But generally speaking, houses cost more, cars cost more, food costs more, clothes, insurances, utility bills. We hear all our answers talking about, oh, I had an interest rate on my first house of 37%, of 17%, of whatever percent, right? Man, your monthly payment was $262 a month. Your payment, I don't care what your interest rate was, your payment was $200 and something a month, granddad, right? And now I could have a 3% interest rate and have a payment of $2,000 or more, right? Depending on what kind of house I'm buying. Man, that being said, you're going to have to constantly improve just to stay the same. And if you are already in an environment where men and women in that environment think it's okay to be broke, they're already behind the 8 ball. If they can't figure it out and the game is on easy, check this out now. Think about it. This is as easy as life will be for us. It ain't as easy as granddad and grandma had because maybe things were cheaper, but maybe they didn't have the technology that we leverage. So it was harder in terms of labor. Economically, as far as the cost of things, they might have had it easier. We're not going to have the privilege of getting a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and go back in time and be able to say, you know what? I went back in time. Now, let me go and buy those houses for $10,000 a house. Move in ready from back in the day. Not happening. Not happening. So wherever we are now, when you're listening to this, understand this. Taxes are probably as low as they're going to be. Food is probably as cheap as it's going to be. It is what it is. I ain't even talking about living luxurious. Your rate for utility bills is probably what it is. Now, you can reduce your usage, but your rate is your rate. Right? So utilities is what it is rate-wise. Food is what it is. You could buy less food and save money, right? You could buy worse quality food and try to save some money. But it is what it is. So if somebody, all of that to say, if somebody now on as easy as the game gets, because it ain't getting no easier, we ain't going back in time. If they losing on easy mode, what happened when we put it on average? What happened when we put it on superstar, all-star level? Right? You losing the game on easy mode, right? And if you're losing the game on easy, and easy is going to become average, right? As the cost of living of everything goes up. So just to live broke is going to cost what it costs to live average right now in the future. Give it some years. Give it some years, right? If we earned what grandma and granddad earned, working a traditional 9-to-5. Now, if they were entrepreneurs and made trillions, great. But if we earned what grandma and granddad earned that worked the traditional 9-to-5 during their day, we would be poor today. Their average salary working a 9-to-5 job in the prime of their life, in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, if we earn whatever that average would be, it varies depending on how old your grandparents are or were, right? You will be poor today. And guess what? The time will come where earning whatever the average salary is in your environment will be what poverty looks like in the future. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, guess what? If we would have told them 50, 60, 70 years ago, depending on their age, if we would have told them that, they would have said, man, you crazy. Ain't nobody gonna be able to live. Like, y'all could raise the prices, but ain't nobody gonna be able to afford that. Ain't nobody gonna be able to live. Everybody must gonna be dead, right? So just as crazy as it would have sounded to them, it might be how it sounds to you, but don't wait until it happens to you to realize you should have planned ahead, not have broke friends. All right. Thank you for listening to episode 21 of the Income Autopilot Podcast. This show is designed to teach you how to enjoy life and allow your money to work for you. Cousin JT, love you. God, love you. I'll see you guys in the next episode.